My parents want me to marry my sister. My sister is up for it, but that's not even the worst part.
Step sis? Minus the step?
Called a flat sis. When I was 5, my parents brought my dad's friend's daughter, about 3, to live with me, and sister, Y, 7. X's family was poor and couldn't support their children. They had 6.
Damn.
So they sent X here because they really trust my parents. X and Y and I grew up together, and my parents were awesome to all 3 of us. I had a lot of fun growing up, and I'm extremely close to my family. I'm now 29. 3 years back, I went abroad for my master's and then went back to my country. There, I met girl P, and we fell in love, and she fell in love with my P.
Oh. God.
I'd like to propose soon, and it felt like this would be a good time to introduce P to my family. Y already knew of her, and P just graduated. So this weekend, I told my family that I would like for them to meet someone special and set up a video call.
Ooh.
No idea who they were expecting, but when they realized P was my girlfriend, everything blew the frick up. Apparently, they had already discussed and arranged my marriage with X years back. And she was the one that I would have to marry. X was aware of it, and her father told her. So if he had no idea.
And they raised them together.
I know.
As siblings.
Cue lots of screaming and yelling, including some choice words from X to P about how she's a modern girl, euphemism in my culture for slut. They said how this modern girl must be after me for my money, even though she comes from a much richer family. I was just too shocked to react initially. The next day, I told my parents that I look at X as family, which makes sense because they were raised as brother and sister. They started saying ridiculous things like, we've never let her into my room, which apparently Y was allowed, and drawing all sorts of other parallels between X and Y, trying to demonstrate why X wasn't like my sister.
It's not like she is your sister. We just raised her like your sister. Come on, 2 different things.
They also said stuff like, no one can understand me better than X and that she will keep the family together, while P will alienate me from them. They also told me that I am ruining the family.
Yeah, he's really ruining the family.
Forgive me for being old-fashioned, but if you want your son to marry his sister, at least give him a head.
Talk.
X also cried nonstop and then shut herself in the room, accusing me of not wanting her only because she was poor, amongst other things. She also said that no one from her village would marry her now because her family has told everyone back home that she's going to marry me. How does everyone know except OP?
Literally villages of people know it.
Maybe it's like a classic Redditor situation where they're like the Redditor's just not getting the social cues.
I thought our makeout sessions were just like playing around or
super
whatever.
platonic.
You know? Yeah, dude, totally. I keep it professional.
My sister was not aware of any of this either. Now, I told X I don't care that no one will marry her from her village.
Oh!
Which is likely a possibility. I don't care that her life is ruined. I also told my parents I won't ruin my life for them to be able to keep their word. X's father is coming to our house once he's able to. Transport restrictions are still in place, but he had a long phone call with my parents. I'm sure a lot of emotional blackmail is to follow, and I already feel really guilty about X because she's a nice girl. My sister is on my side, but even if my parents cut me off and at the risk of X ruining her life, I am not going ahead with this at all. So, am I the a-hole? What do you think? What would you do in this situation if you were supposed to marry your sister and you actually realize that maybe you wanted to marry the hottie that you met elsewhere outside of your family instead? And what would you guys do? Put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I might need y'all's help on this one in the comment section because I truly think that OP did everything that he could do, which is like, it's just so crazy how people have these wild scenarios that they're like, just do
this
it.
Massive of miscommunication.
And it's like, I'm not gonna
marry my sister,
change the fabric of my life in this like unimaginably insane way just to appease you.
Absolutely an insane ask. I don't care. I mean, I guess cultural differences or whatever, but I don't really care what country you're from. Like, you shouldn't have to marry your sister.
How dare you, Sam?
All right, I'm gonna go.
All the people
I may get canceled
who are ready to marry their sisters. Lift your voices up.
All of Alabama.
Yeah. Yeehaw! We heard you loud and clear, cowboy.
I don't know. What would you do if you were forced to marry your sister? Put your answers in the comments below.
I sold the family's prized heirloom to pay for my destination wedding. Now they're getting revenge, and I think my wedding might be ruined.
Hey, this is just a young budding entrepreneur trying to make it on Facebook Marketplace. It's like, yo, I got this very valuable thing. And then someone's like, all right, I'll pay $50 for it.
My fiance, 38 female, and I, 39 male, are planning to get married this summer. We both want to have quite a lavish wedding at a winery in another state.
Ooh.
Two of us agree that it's the most important occasion in our lives, so we should make it as memorable as possible.
I think most people would agree. I mean, some people do courthouse.
We both have stable jobs and a good amount of savings, but it's not quite enough for the admittedly ambitious plans we have in our heads. My father passed away in January, and in his will, he left me a very valuable, think 5 figures family heirloom. I'm not much for big family traditions, so although it's a nice thing to have, I'm not massively attached to it. I have plenty of other good memories of my father and I don't need a fancy heirloom to remember him by. My brother, 34 male, however, is a huge history nerd and is really, really attached to the family heirloom. He was very upset by my father's decision in the will. The reason it went to me and not him is that this has traditionally been passed to the firstborn sons.
What is this thing? Is it like a sword? Like the sword of Godric Gryffindor?
My fiance and I do not plan on having children, and I think he assumed, therefore, that he or his children would be in line to get the family heirloom if I were to pass away.
It makes sense to like keep it within the family. It's a family heirloom. But money though.
After some discussion, my wife-to-be and I decided that we would like to sell the family heirloom to pay for our wedding. My brother, who is also my best man, was furious when he found out and said that he wanted nothing to do with the wedding anymore. He thinks my wife-to-be and I are behaving like spoiled brats. In addition, he's convinced my uncle and cousins not to come to the wedding either.
Why?
My God, yo.
I guess he must be a really big history buff.
With our parents having passed away, this means that virtually none of my family will attend the wedding, which I'm really upset about. I think since I legally inherited the heirloom, I can do whatever I want with it. I think he's just upset because I ruined his expectations of one day inheriting it. But since my uncle and cousins agree with him enough that they're not coming to the wedding, I am not sure if I'm in the right. Am I the a-hole?
All right, I mean, we want to hear what you would do. Would you sell your family heirloom for a kick-ass wedding and a bottle of wine? But me, okay, not necessarily a-hole because OP didn't inherit it and it is OP's and all that, but it is kind of a move to like just sell something that's been in your family for generations and generations. Like if your dad wanted you to sell it, he would have just sold it and given you the money.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good
like,
point.
I think
That's
it's like kind of disrespecting the gift.
That's a great point, but I love disrespecting.
Yeah, like, you know, who cares if pile of rotting flesh in the ground.
Hey, Dad, should I sell it? Say nothing if you want me to sell it. Thanks,
There
Dad.
you go. Putting it on Facebook Marketplace right now.
My employee claims she can't use Microsoft Windows because it's against her religion. I might have to fire her.
What religion is that?
The Steve Jobs
Yeah,
religion.
yeah.
He is my leader. I recently hired a new employee for my team. Everyone thinks she's a great addition, and she's clearly very talented as demonstrated in her interviews. The problem came up during onboarding when we supplied her with her company laptop. She said she would need it configured in a Linux-based operating system because her religion does not allow the use of Apple or Microsoft-owned operating systems.
What? Her religion is open source.
She says that she can fulfill all job duties without Windows, and I'm inclined to believe her, but corporate policy dictates Windows, and my management is not on board with her request for Linux. There's some hardline sects of Abrahamic religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, that go hard in on the idea that you shouldn't use products that benefit from people who do things you don't agree with and or aren't the same religion as you. Maybe she's Latter-day Saints, maybe Amish, I don't know. What actions can either one, I take as manager to protect her rights and get upper management on board with her religion, or two, I take against her with management for failing to fulfill her job duties. I love how OP is literally like, doesn't even care which side
he's just
they
like,
fall on.
I just want to get through this.
Yeah, there's like, just tell me the solution. I have never come across any situation like this, and I'm completely confounded as to how I should handle this.
If it's it's in the job description. It feels a little sneaky to not say so. So I would let her go.
Yeah, I think it depends on how critical that tool is. After many meetings yesterday with management, HR, legal, and IT, we decided to give her a shot. IT is working to come up with a configuration for her that we will also make available to other employees who want to use it. HR and legal felt that although she is able to request accommodation for a sincerely held religious belief, this would have been an undue hardship to the company and it would be okay for us to deny her request. But ultimately, we decided that she can fulfill her job requirements without Windows. Just found out that she doesn't have an iPhone. She's got an Android. Lol.
Android is open source too, right?
Android is owned by Google.
You don't have a problem with Google?
In their defense, I can't even name another operating system.
Yeah.
Outside of those
get
three.
A flip phone, I guess.
Yeah, just go straight Nokia.
Yeah, Nokia. Yeah, why don't you got a Nokia, huh?
Come on. Grandma Karen wants to steal my dad's horses. He said something to her I will never forget. Backstory. Dad was an English professor and also raised horses, Arabians to be specific. We lived in the Midwest on a 10-acre spread next to cattle ranches and such.
That's a pretty big prop.
That's a cool place to be. Dad was the kind of guy who taught me to try to be kind, never swear in front of a lady, open the door for people, etc., etc. Most of things stuck with me throughout my life, except for the swearing. One day, a Saturday, I believe, a couple of local girls around 12 came over and rang the bell. My dad answered the door and they asked if they could ride our horses. Of course, he politely said no, he couldn't do that and closed the door. Imagine the liability issues if they fell off and hurt themselves.
True.
Very true.
Get sued the shit out of.
That's right. Also, Arabians tend to be high-strung and not too accommodating to inexperienced riders, except for a couple we owned who were total patient sweethearts. And that was that, right? Nope. Or I wouldn't be posting this.
Yeah. Come on. This is Reddit.
That's how it goes. Not more than a half hour later, the doorbell chimes again. I'm in the living room watching TV with Dad, and he answers the door. Standing on the front porch are the two girls again, and someone who I took to be the entitled Nana,
Grandmama.
Dad. Hello. What can I do for you? Grandma Karen. My granddaughters would like to ride your horses. Oh. Dad, clearly puzzled. I can't do that. You don't even have to pay them much.
The horses?
Dad is confused. For exercising your horses. They'll do it for $2 an hour. Pretty cheap if you ask me. She's asking for pay. What are you talking about?
Insane.
Dad, clearly holding in his temper. I'm sorry, ma'am, but this isn't happening. I have to decline. But your horses can use the exercise. They look so fat. Dad, this is not a discussion. Then he does something I've never seen before.
He did a haymaker across Grandma Karen's face.
Pow! He closes the door in Grandma Karen's face mid-retort.
Wow.
I'm standing there, dumbstruck. Dad is staring off in the distance. Slowly he says, "What the fuck?" If monkeys started climbing out of his ass, I wouldn't have been more surprised. Dad slowly turns around to see my 11-year-old self standing there with my mouth wide open. He gives me a sheepish grin and says, "Don't tell your mother." He took me out for Dairy Queen later on, and I've been holding on to this for 40 years.
40 years.
40 years. But I feel him laughing over my shoulder as I write this. We love a beautiful ending.
Yeah, we love a beautiful, but it's also beautiful too how Karens just have existed throughout the ages. Even 40 years ago, Karens were doing their thing, asking to ride your horses and have you pay them.
That's great. Also, $2 an hour like 40 years ago?
Yeah, it's a good amount.
Bro, that's minimum wage.
Yeah.
My God.
Getting away with murder over here.
Well, but you know, maybe we're totally off base.
Yeah.
Maybe Grandma Karen deserves to ride the horses. You can tell us in the comments everything you thought about this story. Maybe Dad was a little bit of the a-hole.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let us know. My stepdaughter refuses to accept me as her dad, so I told her what she says is the grossest dad joke of all time. Am I the a-hole?
Oh, I want to hear this.
Note, my stepdaughter, Madeline, was about a year old when I married her mother, Jessica. Madeline's father passed away before she was born. Madeline is currently 15 and she's rebelling for almost everything. She did something bad, so while picking her up, I set a punishment up for her. Then she said, you're not my dad, so I don't have to follow you.
You're my fake dad. My real dad's dead.
Honestly, I got a bit hurt from that, but I understand that she didn't mean it and that she'd probably change.
She meant it. She hates you.
She hates you.
Forever.
I just replied, I'm still your legal guardian for the next 3 years. And as long as you're in my house, you have to follow my rules.
Classic dad thing.
Classic dad move. Is that the dad joke?
That's the dad joke.
That happened about 2 days ago. So our family was going grocery shopping when I heard Madeline say, I'm hungry. I need food. I decided to be extremely cheeky and say, hi, hungry. I am not your dad.
It's juicy. I see the dad
jokes.
joke.
My son just started to laugh uncontrollably, but my daughter was quiet with embarrassment. And my wife berated me to not stoop down to her level. I honestly thought it was a funny dad
I
joke.
think it's funny.
And my son agrees. So am I the a-hole? We got some updates.
So far, I say no. I want to know what everyone else thinks, but I think that's a funny dad joke. And he's putting his own unique new spin on it.
Let's see what happens in this update, okay? So edit, I did adopt her, so I am legally her parent.
Okay.
First mini update. I'll give a full update later, but here's what happened so far. I go to my daughter's room after dinner and begin talking with her. Hey, I'm really sorry that I hurt you with the words that I said. And I am really your dad.
All these snowflakes getting so sad over dad jokes. Come
Come
on,
on.
grow some skin.
I changed your diapers. I met your boyfriend. And I plan on helping you through college. And plus, I'm legally your dad, so we're stuck together. But seriously, I am going to love you like my daughter, even if you don't think I'm your dad.
That's pretty cute.
Then I hugged her, and then she did start to cry. I assume that's good. But she was really crying, remembering how terrible your
Dad
disgusting
joke
dad
was.
joke was. Final update. My son has found this post and shared it with my daughter. This was after apologizing to her. She cried again. So last week, we decided to have a father-daughter bonding weekend. Honestly, it was awesome. I took her bowling, to get a manicure, becoming a Disney princess.
That sounds so fun.
I looked awesome as Jasmine.
OP sounds like a great dad.
Yeah.
I feel like a sign of a good dad is a dad that is willing and able to make dad jokes.
She loved it. I loved it. Everyone was happy. Then we decided to go out to eat dinner. So I said, I'm starving. What do you want, Maddie? She said, hi, starving. I'm not your daughter.
Bam! All comes full circle.
She had the biggest smirk on her face. She hugged me and I kissed her forehead. I'm sure she'd been planning this for weeks.
So cute.
Sometimes we just get an adorable, wholesome story.
And we love it. You know, it makes it all worthwhile. But you know what else makes it worthwhile?
Oh, what, Sam?
The comments from our public subscribers. And I have a comment from public subscriber Yael Goldstein on the video. My husband called me a cheater and disowned our baby. It gets worse. It's about like OP's boyfriend asked for the paternity test. As soon as the results show he's the father. The idea of paternity tests at birth is a nice theory, but these tests cost money and hospitals won't do it without someone paying for them. Probably true, but your boys can dream, can't they?
Can we not have a dream where every baby gets a free paternity test all across the land?
Hey, and we can dream that you'll put your thoughts and feelings in the comments and publicly subscribe so we might read it.
Love you.